Hey, what's happening, family? QL here. I am so excited. The QL Show podcast is back.
If you've been with us for a while, you'll remember our powerful conversation with actor and singer Terrell Cater. That interview went viral for a good reason. Terrell's openness about childhood trauma, mental health, and his journey as a black man in the LGBTQ community struck a chord with so many. And those conversations matter now more than ever. We've all seen struggles with identity and mental health dominate headlines and social media, forcing personal issues into the public eye. It's a reminder that talking openly about pain, resilience, and healing isn't just important for the LGBTQ community. It's something we all need. Today, we're continuing that dialogue with Terrell in a follow-up interview that dives even deeper. He's here to talk about his new role in Beauty and Black, the heartbreaking loss of his close friend, the legendary Angie Stone, his book Problem Child, and the release of his upcoming album, Mr. Carter, dropping September the 12th. This is more than just an interview. It's a raw and honest look at life, art, and finding strength in the middle of it all. So let's get into it. My conversation with Terrell Cater starts now.
My guy, Terrell Cater, singer, actor. You've seen him everywhere. Now he's on Netflix, the #1 show on Netflix right now. But he's back in the studio, of course, to talk about Problem Child, the interview that went crazy that everybody is talking about. Like literally to this day, Terrell, if I get on TikTok and I type in Terrell Cater, there's so many people that have done like their own videos and like their own reactions to your story. And for those who don't know, Terrell has been in the industry for quite some time. And he has his book entitled Problem Child, where he talks about his childhood traumas and some of the things that he went through growing up and how he got to the man that he is today. Terrell Cater, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Man, how you feeling, bro?
Dive into this again. You know, the first time we had a chance to sit down, it was an amazing interview. But, you know, a lot of people had, you know, questions and comments. So
yeah,
I'm glad to be here.
And I'm not gonna lie, I was shocked at like how well the interview did and the reaction that the people left us. I think it was because when Beauty and Black came out, people, I think they saw you on TV and they was like, wait a minute, I think I seen that guy on Empire. Oh wait, I think I seen that guy on A Diary of a Mad Black Woman. And I think it started to come to people. So then all of a sudden, as soon as you search Terrell Cater in YouTube, that's the first thing that comes up was the video about your mother who was 11 years old. She was special needs. She had only one leg, and she had you. And it was a big family secret for a while. And you lived in that. Kind of talk about that real quick for those who have not heard about your story.
Well, to recap, my mom was 11 years old. She was 11 years old, special needs, one leg amputated at birth. She had so many health problems growing up, and she was molested by my dad, who was from the same family. He was 26 years old. And I was just that problem child who was a family secret. You know, I grew up under a cloud of secrecy because my dad didn't want anyone to know. And my grandmother and everybody at that time was more concerned with the structure and the stability that they had.
Yeah.
So they didn't want that to be, you know, disrupted. So I just kind of came under that. Well, meanwhile, you have my mom who was special needs. She could barely speak, you know. And when I was 5 years old is when I realized, you know, and there was a young lady that made a comment about it. And she was like, when you're 5 years old, you don't even understand. When I was 5 years old, I knew exactly what was happening. And I remember, you know, realizing that my mom and I were different. And I remember thinking, she's not like me, you know, and for my mom to go through that at such a young age, you know, and not be able to speak and say it the way that she would have if she was like you or I, you know, and then I come out and become this man who I can be the voice that she didn't have.
Absolutely. So like growing up and going through grade school, like elementary, middle school, high school, did you ever feel different than all of your other peers around you because of your circumstances?
Absolutely. I think that the thing is, I was more concerned, you know, either you're special needs like your mom or you're not, but I was more shocked that my family was 150% anything that you consider with the worst of the worst would be if you saw a picture of them in a dictionary. And I remember thinking at like 8 years old at a family reunion, how am I nothing like these fucking people?
Yeah.
I was nothing like them. And so that's what really blew me away. But, you know, we are born with no handbook. Nobody knows how you're gonna go out and into, you know, the world. But I just realized because of the way that things were for me,
Yeah.
that it wasn't only that I was different. I just couldn't understand where it was that I fit, even with these people.
Absolutely. Did you, whenever you saw that interview, and you saw the numbers and it started to go viral, what was your first thought process whenever you saw that? Right, like what was going through your mind?
What was going through my mind?
And I asked that because there were so many people that were in the comments. I mean, they felt as if this was like a pity party because you was trying to sell the book. But what people didn't know was that the book had already been out.
Yeah.
We were just sitting here talking as brothers, right?
Yeah.
And the conversation came about, and it was something that just stuck with people.
Yeah.
It resonated with people.
Well, this story was a story that I didn't want anybody to know. So it wasn't a pity party.
Yeah.
You know, my story was something, who wants to go and tell that their mother has been molested and they're a child of incest?
Yeah.
No, I could just let you know that I was the guy in Diary of a Mad Black Woman singing, Father, Can You Hear Me? Or I was, this on Beauty and Black, playing Varney and all of this. Now, you didn't have to know that, but I knew that us, especially us as Black families, grow up and we have so much trauma. And I told my story to just in private to some friends, and I saw how it opened the door for them to be released by telling their stories. Yeah. We all got our shit. All of us got our stories, and I told my story before we had an interview. So I wasn't surprised because after I told the story and after I had the book and the success of my book before that,
absolutely,
it wasn't me looking for people. I was already Terrell Cater at that point anyway. So it wasn't me looking for any sympathy, but it was me looking to be an example and to use my story.
And I was going to say that too, because there are people that are being helped because you're telling your story. Like we were just talking about this before the camera started rolling. If you go on YouTube, there's so many people that saying, hey, like I was molested at 5 years old. I went through this same situation. Yeah. There were some people that hadn't even spoke about that verbally, but they felt comfortable enough to say it behind a keyboard, and put it online to help other people. And then you seen a community of people that was helping other people through their traumas. And I just thought that was just so profound because here you are living through it, right? And this is your life, this is your story, but now you get to tell the story. And though you may have gotten criticism from it, there was a lot of people that was like, yo, like I am him, like that's me too.
Right. Well, I didn't even notice about the criticism. Man, I've done this a long time. Yeah. So people are going to give their opinion, and everybody's entitled to their opinion. But your opinion is what when you're just at home giving your opinion about something. Yeah. Get out there and tell your story. We all got a story, and I wanted to tell my story to help other people. I didn't tell my story to get accolades or criticism. I told my story because I know that there were young people out there that are in our neighborhoods and that are in our communities that are dealing with shit like this, and that's even worse. Excuse me, but that's what it is.
Listen, this is the QL Show podcast. You can say whatever you say, how you feel it.
We're dealing with shit like this that we brushed under the carpet for years. Yeah, my mom, like I said, was 11 years old, and what does that do to a male child where you have your father who has done this? He's 26. Right. She was molested by a 26-year-old family member. Yeah. And then I'm his only son who he doesn't claim. Well, what does that make me feel growing up? There's no blueprint on how to be a man already.
Did you go and get therapy as you were growing up?
What Black person that it was in the 80s and 90s that went to go get therapy? If you went to go get therapy, you were crazy.
No, absolutely.
Nobody. I never heard of ADD and all of that other shit until I moved to Los Angeles.
Let me tell you, I didn't get therapy until the pandemic, and I didn't even realize that I needed therapy until the pandemic came. Everything had closed down, and it was like you were at home in those four walls, and you had to sit within yourself, right? Yeah. And then for me, I feel like that's when those childhood traumas started to come up, and those issues that I thought was not issues, like those things start to resurface again with the pandemic.
Well, me too. I got therapy when I realized that I didn't know what love was. Yeah. I didn't know how to have real relationships with anyone, even when they went well. I realized I was so out of touch because how do you, as a man, I can't speak for anybody else. This is my opinion, but this is not just my opinion. This is what I went through. This is what I lived through. How do you know what love feels like? How do you know how I'm supposed to love anybody? How do you know how you're going to love a woman or a man or anyone? Whatever it is that you are supposed to be, your parents are responsible for giving you that. And if you don't have that, then it's warped.
Yeah.
You'll find yourself. I found myself doing and being involved in things that I found out I wasn't even into. Some of it.
Yeah,
some
yeah.
of it I was. I'm very, very comfortable in the things that have happened in my life, the way that it has turned out, the things that I've decided. Yes, this is Terrell Cater. But the things that I had to deal with, you know, because of that, you know, it is something that I decided. I'll be the sacrificial lamb. I'm going to tell my story. I'm going to tell how it is to be a man who has to deal with all of those things. And people can say easily, oh, you know, you just know right from wrong. No, you fucking don't.
Yeah.
You don't. You think you do, but you don't. How do you know what love is if you've never really felt it from your own dad? How do you know how to love a woman as a man if you've never seen that really happen in front of you? You think you know.
Yeah.
For me, I didn't know what it was that I needed to know. So what I did is I decided, go get some therapy.
Yeah.
Go figure out how life is supposed to be. You know, even your sexual desires. How do you even place those in any place that's true? You don't know what you like sexually. You don't know who you like sexually. You know, and people are afraid to talk about that. I mean, I'm not at this point, but it's true.
Yeah.
You don't know because it's all just warped.
So what do you know about love now in 2025?
Well, the things that I've learned weren't just from, you know, a lot of the stuff that I've learned was just being out there. But I had to go through therapy to dig deep and find out what it was that was steering me in directions that I didn't want to go in.
Yeah.
And why was I afraid of things that were naturally who I was?
Yeah.
You know, and I was afraid of the things that I felt, hey, my dad was this man and I look just like this man. What else is it inside of me that may come up that I don't know is there? Because, you know, it's hereditary. And I had a lady that came up to me one day and I told her my story. And she said, and it's so simple, but some of that stuff sticks out with you. She says, isn't it amazing how you can change the legacy of whatever's going on in your family just by being who you are? You don't have to fall down that. And yes, it sounds simple, but I was more afraid for years. My dad molested my mom. I looked just like this guy. I met him once or twice, and I saw how he was when he walked into a room. I saw his talent. He was a singer. He was it. And I thought, well, what else? What else is it that I have that's going to rear its head? Nothing. And whatever else it is, that doesn't mean that I have to just be out of control. So
your voice came from your dad.
Well, my dad was a guitar player.
Yeah.
I mean, he was singing and stuff like that, but the voice, I mean, that, to me, God gave me that.
Yeah.
God gave me that.
Yeah,
yes.
no, absolutely. So is there like a part of your childhood that still impacts you to this day?
Yeah, my mom and I.
Yeah.
You know, I remember clearly, and the reason that I bring it back up is because there was a young lady on TikTok that said, when you're 5 years old, you don't remember anything. You don't even remember this. You don't remember that. I remember arguing over some crayons with my mom in a coloring book, and I remember her response. And I just thought, she's not as smart as I am. I got to be nice to her. And I was just looking at her.
Yeah.
And it was just weird to me because no one had to really tell me what was going on. It was always just, you know, when you're in the Black family, you know how things really are. You just can see who's who and what's what. And I'd seen so many things, you know, my uncle's doing different things with him coming with his prostitutes and all of that. And you don't really realize that you're in the midst of trauma sometimes, you know, and sometimes you do. Yeah. And I was just one of those kids. You call it awake or whatever you want to call it. And I think that that's what made me someone who just grew up in a bad environment versus being someone who woke up at 19 and realized that all this trauma had happened to me, because at that point you don't remember and it's everything. But I saw everything and remembered it.
So unpack that day for me. You were 19 when you found out about your history of your family?
No. I found out the history of my family when I was maybe eight or nine. Yeah. 8 or 9 years old, because my aunt, I had the Medea from the family, and she was my father's grandfather's sister. So she was the Medea, and she was from that side of it, where she just always said, she was like, we all know that's his son, you know, we're not gonna pretend. She would say it at the family reunions. Everyone else would just keep it quiet. And I was this little boy looking just like him, you know. And my dad was like this tall man, and he was in the army, and he would come home, you know, after he had left and all that. And my grandma, my aunt would say, you know, she was like, we all know that that's his son. You know, and nobody would ever say anything to her because she had that same Medea presence. So, but I knew about 8 or 9 years old, and I would see him, and I just could not understand how being your only son, you know, and it hurt me for years. Hurt me for years to be someone's only son. And this motherfucker, I'm this motherfucker, you don't want to claim me? And then I got to a point, I guess, later on in life where I started feeling sorry and saying, not that to even compare myself and say, oh, I'm a better man. I don't know what this man's reasonings are. Everybody has a reason to be who they are.
Absolutely.
But not an excuse, but a reason. I couldn't imagine what it was that at some point I would just have to say, yeah, I did this, but this belongs to me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Listen, family, Problem Child, it is online right now. You even did an audible to Problem Child as well. My auntie had called me. I think it's like 7 hours. She said, Q, I got my audible and I listened to it in 3 days. I was like, well, listen, everybody is getting the book. Everybody has been talking about it. Spartanburg really does love Terrell Cater.
And I love them. We had a good time when we came down here.
Shout out to Premier Studio in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Premier Studio is the home of the QL Show podcast, and Miles and Jeremiah are extraordinary hosts. If you haven't checked out Premier Studio, you need to lock in with them right now.
Kind of move inside of a space that we were all in a couple of months ago. We were all shocked, and we were just, I think everybody in the music industry was trying to wrap our head around the fact that Angie Stone had passed away. She was on her way to an event. She got into a car accident, unfortunately, and she lost her life. And I wanted to talk to you about this because I know you and Angie was really, really good friends. Y'all had a chance to talk days before she passed away. You even have a tribute video to her that's on your YouTube page. Kind of talk about your relationship with Angie Stone, and where were you when you found out about that news?
Angie Stone, I mean, there's so many layers. I met Angie Stone. We were on a theater show called Why Good Girls Like Bad Boys. And Angie Stone at that time, was, I love Angie Stone. I really still love Angie Stone. Excuse me, you guys. Angie Stone and I were on a show, and she was just always supporting me. You know, she was doing her gigs on the outside when we wouldn't have shows, and she would call me, she would tell me to come sing with her and do different things. And then one time she was like, I'm your sister. And then she found out about my story. And Angie Stone looks a whole lot like my mom. And so then she found out about my story. And then one day she just said, you know what? I feel like our relationship, God has brought me into your life to be your sister, but to give you that same relationship that you would have, that extended, you know, that your mom would be. And she's like, she said, and me as a singer and me looking like her, because I showed her pictures, and she looks just like Angie Stone, actually. And so she says, you know, I would love to, you know, be in that place for you. And for years, she was. Angie Stone would reach down and come and get me when I wasn't on shows, or I was just, you know, hiding out for a while, or things would go crazy. I had some craziness happen on lines, and she would just come and get me, you know, and always never asking questions, never giving her opinion, and never always could see what it was that I needed versus what I wanted sometimes, you know, and she gave that to me. And so Angie Stone was that to me.
I hear often that she was a mentor or a teacher at heart, like
to everybody. To so many people. And Angie Stone was the type that in this industry, there are very few people that give their word and keep it. She was the type that said, you know, I'm going to have you come sing a song with me, or I'm going to remember you on this. And she would, you know, and she would give people that hadn't had a chances, and, you know, sending out money for this to this person. And some people, you know, I remember having conversations with her, and I was like, Angie, I would have never given his ass shit. And she was just like, well, you know, you never know. But Angie Stone was everything you think she was and more.
What is a memory that you have with her that the world does not know about, but that you don't mind sharing? You know what I mean?
Angie Stone and I were in this theater show, and there was this place across the street in Detroit that had this bread pudding.
Yeah.
And so Angie asks me, you know, had I tried it? Now, and it was famous, so everybody, I don't even like fucking bread pudding. But this place had this bread pudding, and it was actually really good. So she calls me and says, would you go get me some bread pudding?
Yeah.
Now, this was before the show. Now, the show was a theater show, so it was about 8, 9 o'clock. You know, we go 2 hours.
Yeah.
So I forgot to get the fucking bread pudding. And so we back at the hotel, and so she calls me 2:30 in the morning. Yeah. And I'm thinking at that time, I mean, and that was when I'm touring. So I'm thinking it's something else. You know what I'm saying? Somebody else called me. I'm like, hello? And it's on the hotel phone. So I'm like, nobody should know who, you know, she's like, Terrell. I'm like, this is Angie. What do you want?
Yeah.
Did you go over there and get my bread pudding?
And she wanted it at 2 a.m.
When it was just hilarious, because I had forgot all about the bread pudding. So from that day to the day that she passed away, we would still talk about, you know, anytime something didn't go down, she was like, I remember that. Just like you didn't go get my bread pudding that night. I'm like, Angie, that was 20 years ago.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
Man, she is definitely a legend, an iconic singer, and really, in my opinion, has shaped the sound of music to this day.
Absolutely,
when we think about R&B music, neo soul. I mean, I didn't know till she passed away that she was the one who was doing the Girlfriends a theme song that was on the show, and I think a lot of people were surprised by that. But when you listen to the voice, it's like, wait a minute, that is Angie Stone.
And she was a fixture for the culture of Black women, especially. Like, you know, her look, her style, and the songs, and that neo soul vibe, and the writing, and the grace, and the way that she would just carry herself. You know, like, that's just what you want to see, you know? And so that's what she was.
And y'all got real steamy in like this little YouTube. I don't know if y'all seen the YouTube video, but they got a whole music video together. And I'm talking about they all up on each other.
Oh, we did too. It was her last 2 music videos. And I starred in both of them. Good Man was one of them. And we had such a great time, you know? And I did a tribute to her as if I was watching the Good Man video. And then a week before she died, she texted me and was like, you know, I got on TikTok and said, hey, anybody know a cover that I can do? And she texted me and was like, you need to do Charlie Wilson's You Are My High. You are my high. And I was like, Angie, I don't know. I listened to the song and I was like, I'm going to do this song.
You made it as a tribute.
And when I did the song, when I said I was going to do the song, I told her, I said, this is perfect. I'm going to do it. I promise I'll do it. And then she passed away before I did. Wow. So I did a tribute video, which is on my YouTube channel, Terrell Music. Go out and look at the tribute that I did. You Are My High for Angie Stone. And just the videographer, Brad Frace, for Frace Media, did such a wonderful job. You know, I had it where I'm actually performing it for her, the chair of flowers, which was for her, and just the whole video. So you got to check it out.
I'll make sure I post the link inside the comments, y'all. So you definitely check out that video. Terrell, you know, I want to talk about last year, of course, Beauty in Black. It hit Netflix back in October. You guys were #1 in over 28 countries, racked up over 5.6 million views in less than 5 days. Did you ever think the success of that show would move as fast as it did?
Well, once I read it, but when I saw the success, when I saw the script for season 2, I know that it's going to be even more crazy. But yeah, absolutely. The people that, when we started filming, and you got, you know, Richard Lawson and Debbie Morgan and Stephen Norfleet and all of these other actors that are like some of the veterans, Charles Malik Whitfield. And then you got newcomers like Crystal Stewart and myself and other people. I consider myself that with those, you know, but Beauty in Black is something that was not only perfect for the time. You know, for me, it was perfect for me. I love playing the role that I play. I'm able to play this role in a way that.
And for those who don't know, he plays Varney, who is a lawyer, correct?
Varney, I play Varney on Beauty in Black, who's a lawyer for the family, for the Bellery family. So
And in that role, Mr. Perry had pretty much gave you an opportunity to step inside of this LGBTQ role, right? Where in my opinion, when we think about, dramas, or when we think about opera style shows, we don't really get to see the diversity in it, right? Like you don't really get to see, your members of the LGBTQ community. But you had an opportunity to do that, and kind of talk about what do you feel like that meant to the culture?
Well, for the LGBTQ culture, it is great to represent a man who is not just the comic relief, just the kind of guy who's going to get beat up, just somebody who, he's just thrown on there and then, it's like, oh, he's just a support. No, this guy is, I'm already 6'5", so I come across that, as a big man that I am, but at the same time, they're letting me be, play this character where he's, fearful just like anybody else, but he's a everyday person just like everyone else. Yes, we have the different communities and different this and that, but at the end of the day, we live in the world. So if we live in the world, then why can't it be that here is this man versus he has to be this and make him look special and act special or be a caricature or be over the top? There's all different types of people in the LGBTQ community, and this is how I'm happy that I'm able to help
shape
absolutely
shape the community
absolutely
in a way.
Yeah.
So talk about when Mr. Perry had called you to take on this role as Barney. How did that even come about? Because again, a lot of people remember you from Diary of a Mad Black Woman.
Right.
And I believe when that show came out, there were so many people that started to do their research and they was like, wait, who is this guy? Terrell Carter. And then that's when they found out like you were the guy, you were the preacher in the church. But in
Diary of a Mad Black Woman. But I started with Tyler in the theater plays, Medea's Class of Union and Meet the Browns and all that. And when he called me to do this, because I hadn't worked with him in a while. I'd done Empire and From Scratch and some other things, but I was doing this basically a reunion, and when he called and said, I got this role for you, and he didn't really give me a lot of details, but he just told me that this is kind of what I'm writing. He didn't really tell me exactly what it was. I was excited to work again with Tyler. It's been a long time, and to be able to get back into it and write. But then when I saw the character, and he let me be and take it and do, what I wanted to do with it. And I was thinking, I appreciate that. Because, it's his thing.
Do you feel like you can relate to the character?
Absolutely. Yeah. Especially because with Barney, he's in, and he's the type of guy, it's being in the entertainment industry and being Terrell Carter. I have had to go through times where you have to worry about who you are versus who they want you to be versus what it is that you're afraid that if I am this, that my job, and then you're also evolving as a human. You're not who you were at 18. You may not be into what you were at this, and you may not be, and sometimes into certain things doesn't mean that that's who you are either. And sometimes when you're not into it, that means maybe I haven't been introduced to what it is and who it is I am. So absolutely, being able to play this character. I was this, the difference between me and Barney is that I never gave a fuck what people thought. I never felt like I had to say anything to people. I never felt like I felt like I didn't know who I was. I told you with my book and my dad and everything, I had to learn who Terrell Carter was and what was really me, not versus, whatever. But I never gave a fuck about that. I never cared. I had I had people that would tell me, you can't say this, you can't be seen with this, or you can't be seen. But I was thinking, why not? I don't even know if this is who I am or that's who I am or what, Absolutely. So that's the difference with Barney now, because he cares.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So what advice would you give, though, to that individual who may be looking right now, who doesn't know who they are, who doesn't know who they are sexually, and they're just trying to figure out what space they want to be in? Like, what would you say to them? Because I feel like we've seen you blossom over the years, and you're showing up in spaces that, in my opinion, I didn't see you showing up in 10 years ago. You know what I mean? But I feel like you're showing up there as Terrell Carter, as a confident Black man. You're doing your thing right now.
Well, the advice that I give anyone, not anyone, you have the right to evolve just like anybody else. Who I was 10 years ago, I'm not even that guy today. And things that I gave myself a chance to become who I am without worrying about what you think. Everybody's gonna have their opinion on your life, and it's easy to say, I don't give a fuck what people think. But you do, and in many cases you kind of have to. But at the end of the day, the biggest person that I had to be concerned with what I thought was me. And even when I had to worry about what people had to say and all of that, I had to always be honest with myself to say, calm down. What do you want? What do you like? What do you want what, just go out and experience who you are. Experience what it is. Some of the things, especially, and I grew up religious, and I'm not religious anymore. I'm spiritual, definitely, but I'm not religious under a certain amount of rules that have nothing to do with God. I am at a point where I was like, you know what, God, you made me, show me where it is that I belong. Let me understand and experience life in a way that I can be happy. I don't want to be 99 years old and wish that I had walked out into something else. Absolutely not. Yeah. And if that's the case, then I don't want whatever it is that you're saying that I should be. So for those people out there, young people who don't know what they are, what give yourself a chance to just breathe and live and learn. Because when you lie to yourself, lie to yourself, and you try to just be things that you're not or whatever the case, don't try to be anything. Just live.
And hell, that shit is more stressful than anything.
Absolutely,
when you out here try to be something that you're not. Been there, done that.
At the end of the day, for me, I will always die being who I am versus who you want me to be.
What do you think is people's biggest misconception of Terrell Cater?
I really don't know, because I don't care what their conception is. And I really, really mean that.
A word.
Not in a negative way. I have no idea.
Yeah.
People were talking about somebody, they were talking about how there's a controversy going on now with the gospel thing and who, and the runs and this and that. And they asked me, and I was asked what I thought. And I said, you know what? I don't know. I don't really I just don't care. I got so much going on in my own life that ain't really that much, but this is what's important to me.
Yeah.
So my concern, your concern and misconception about Terrell Cater is not my business. I have no idea what the misconception is. I really don't.
Do you ever feel forgotten or overlooked in this industry?
I would feel, I used to have this problem.
Yeah.
So many people would say, oh my God, he's so underrated.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, God, you've given me these talents. And in many ways, I felt like I'm so much better than some of the people that I've seen excel sometimes. And then I thought about it, with my story, my songs, my the things that I was blessed to be able to do will live on and bless people long after I'm gone off of this earth.
Yeah.
How is that underrated and how is that overlooked? Sometimes things that I'm going to be able to be an influence have nothing to do with me and are going to be going on when I'm gone.
Yeah.
So if it was measured in my lifetime, maybe I'm underrated. But if it's measured in timeless blessings that God chose me to be able to give the world for years and years to come, there we go.
And you know what's so crazy? I mean, if we think about many years ago when we heard you on Diary of a Mad Black Woman, your voice, your vocal ability has matured so much over the years, and you have this voice that literally pierces a soul, if that makes sense. I don't know where it comes from. I know a lot of it has to do with your childhood trauma and the things that you've been through in life, but man, you are truly a blessing to this industry. I don't know if anybody tells you that, but I want you to know, from me, you are truly a blessing to this industry.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Terrell, if this was your last time being interviewed, what would it be that you want the world to know about Terrell Cater?
If this was my last interview, I'm so happy that I can look and say that I did it my way. And my way isn't so much me walking out and doing my own thing. It was walking against the things that would have hindered me from being able to be a voice to people that needed to hear it when I know they did. Walking away from things during a time when I needed the job, but it would have put me in a position where I would have to have been silent about things and people that were a blessing to me. And I was like, nah, this feels right. And a lot of the things that I had to walk away from, and a lot of the times that I had to be silent, if I stayed in other places, and I was able to walk out and be me and love people that needed the love and represent something that needed to be represented. And ironically, here I am, now being able to stand up here and tell that same story, and it's #1 in the world. That tells me something. That's what I would want people to know. Do what your heart tells you to do, because that's what I did.
Listen, family, you need to get the book Problem Child. I promise you, this is a good read. You're going to enjoy it. Pass it along to your friends, to your family. I'm going to get Terrell to actually sign a copy. So we'll do a little competition. You can check it out inside the comments in this video. We'll tell you how you can win the book. But I'm excited about that. And also, don't forget, September the 11th.
September 11th, Beauty and Black Season 2 is coming out. Let me tell you guys, you are not ready. There's no spoilers. I can't tell you, but I will say it's like Season 1 didn't even happen.
But I'm hearing that you have like a bigger role in Season 2, though.
I don't know what you heard.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything.
The streets be talking now.
I'm going to tell you when you see Season 2.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm happy. September 11th, Season 2, Beauty and Black on Netflix.
Terrell Cater, the QL Show podcast. Make sure you subscribe.